Let's go on to the dailies. Let's take you through some of the dailies here this morning. Now we're going to start with Nigerian Tribune here this morning. Provide monthly performance reports. Tinubu directs MDAs as he signs 28.7 trillion naira 2024 budget into law. So driving our message again home, we'll focus on that here, by the way, today on Sunrise Daily. You need to stay here at the moment. And then look at this. We jacked up original estimates to take care of needs of Nigeria as the president of the Senate. So the needs of Nigeria, he says. And so, yes, you might have seen the breakdown. And, well, if you're saying needs of Nigeria, but that of the Senate too was jacked up, well, they can argue as well, or the National Assembly, they could argue as well that they're Nigerians too, so in the manner of speaking. But yes, this is the big lead on the front page here today. So I know there are questions concerning what's going on with the refineries. Are we going to see them begin pumping product? Are they accepting crude? Port Harcourt refinery, for instance, because there are those who kept on saying that what they saw was importation of LPG, connecting it to the flare, just to give the impression that yes, they're cranked up and then they're ready to roll. So if they go back there now, is the flare still on?
Was it a PR stunt?
Yeah, have they gotten crude? Are they processing crude? Is the flare not supposed to be as a result of the gas coming through from the process when you're running it? So huge questions about all of this, but we will see. That's Tribune this morning.
Well, I'm looking at leadership for you this morning, and they have this. Tinubu cuts borrowing. Signs 28.7 trillion naira 2024 budget. Deficit lower at 3.8%. NAS vows strict oversight on implementation. It ends controversial ways and means borrowings. Well, page 4 is where you'll get to see details of that, because some people still think that is something that is continuing. And if we did it last year, who knows? But hey, page 4 is where you'll get details, but you can see the determination right there to start the operation of the 2024 budget from January the 1st. You also see right there, Etsu Nupe harps on investment to tackle unemployment. Why pro-Fubara speaker resigned, vacated seat. Everybody wants to know the why, don't
Some think it might be chief of staff.
Okay, so page 7 is where you find details of that. Is it resigning for, I mean, we've seen that at the National Assembly, where the current chief of staff resigned to be the president's chief of staff. Is it following in that stead? Is it following that example? Page 7 is where you'll find details. You also look at the bottom here, 2024. Wike promises robust policy in FCT. Excuse me, I can tell you certainly that the residents of the Federal Capital Territory will be very expectant on that one. And let's forget the past. Ayedatiwa tells Ondo residents, page 11 is where you see details. I think it comes from some of the messages that the governors have been giving their residents in the new year. Wasn't just the president. Well, Jimbeling, I'm sure the people of Ondo State know what part of the past he's referring to. We're going to leave it there for leadership newspapers.
Well, right now we have the Nigerian Observer next. What do we have on the front page? Tinubu power, food, enabling environment in 2024. That's the lead of the Nigerian Observer this morning. Says new national living wage coming. I like that coinage. So is that what the law is also going to say? Living wage and not minimum wage, but hey, I guess we'll wait. Tough decisions taken in difficult times. That's what you have right there. Obviously, details you find on the inside pages. That's also coming from that speech of the president from yesterday. Right above the nameplate, the Obaseki counts accomplishments, felicitates with Edo people at New Year. He cries cult-related killings, commences investigation of criminal masterminds. That's the story, another story right above the nameplate, and it continues on the inside pages. Right beside the nameplate is something that would look to many as like good news. Days to kick off, Dangote Refinery receives 4th crude tranche. The story is on page 2 of the paper this morning. Now, for those who are wondering what's going to happen with AFCON 2023, how is Nigeria going to do? How well will Nigeria do? Right beside the picture of that story, you find at the lower part of the page, lower right, AFCON 2023, how Super Eagles' final 25-man squad was picked. That's according to Pissarro. Find the details on page 2. That's the Nigerian Observer this morning.
Now on to Daily Trust next. Experts set agenda for government as Tinubu signs 2024 budget. So they're getting their voices heard, as a matter of fact. So if you look at that, you get to see NECA urges fiscal discipline. LCCI wants action on inflation, social inequality. Nigerians seek quick relief from hardship. Can there be any such thing in the first place?
What?
Quick relief from hardship.
There can be. There can be. I mean, imagine for instance, imagine for instance that owing to some miracle, the price of petrol crashes.
Owing to what?
That will be a miracle, I said.
No, I think they're looking for.
That will be some quick relief. That will be one, I don't want to say hell of a relief, but that will be one quick relief, Chamberlain.
Well, I think the one that will work quicker is, that will be a lot more realistic for government, particularly your policy, which economic policy, because that miracle will not be, it's not an economic policy. So if that happens, you don't know about that, do you? Okay, look at this. PDP demands account of earnings, LP faults president's speech. So it all goes down there, but they've got to break down the front page there for you to see for the budget. So you might just go ahead and see that. In the meantime, Super Eagles AFCON camp opens today. Guess where? In Abu Dhabi. Yeah, so that's what's going on right there. That's the Daily Trust today.
I'm looking at The Guardian for you, and I have this. Deficit execution concerns over expanded 28.8 trillion naira budget. It's a page 6 read for you right there. Indeed, the president signing the budget is one of the lead stories on the front page of many of the dailies. But look at this angle. Kuriwa queries promotion of generals amid insecurity. Yeah, it's a very interesting angle. Never thought about it like that before. Page 28 is where you find details. PDP, others fault Tinubu's pledges, demand concrete actions against hardship. Fubara vows to retain Rivers' governorship mandate. That's also there.
Says they're fighting for the red biro. Famous red biro.
Okay. Monarch writes Tinubu over 3,050 megawatts Mambila hydropower dispute. That story is also there. Federal government not committed to agreements with Labour, NLC claims. Oh, that is also there. So I think whoever the Labour minister is going to be, we know that there's a Minister of State, and she's a lady, very capable. Honorable Nkuruka Onyejiocha is the current Minister of State for Labour. But they will definitely have their work cut out for them. I mean, if they decide to have
because the minister
or promoter
said, look, better go to the Senate. So now they're talking about performance appraisal. Please let me go to where my seat is secure.
Okay.
Anything can happen.
That's what Chamberlain thinks. Okay?
Because this president, the way he's talking about performance appraisal, I better go to the Senate. I appraise myself there.
Only my constituents appraise me after 4 years. Well, let's leave it there for the Guardian newspapers.
Just have a fun, okay? But by the way, Chamberlain, you raised an issue the other time of the former speaker of the House of Representatives, House of Assembly in Rivers State. Well, it's in the news online as well that Chief of Staff, maybe you saw some crystal ball somewhere. Who knows? You could actually be right. The Nigerian NewsDirect is next, and how does it lead? talking about MDAs. Tinubu warns MDAs on performance assents to 28.7 trillion naira appropriation bill. MDAs on performance assents to 28.7 trillion naira appropriation bill. Stories on page 2. Sets aside 100 billion naira for feeding school children, defense, internal security, job creation, macroeconomic stability, top priorities. Statutory transfer to judiciary increased from 165 billion naira to 342 billion naira. You may want to find out the details on page 2 as to why. And by the way, some people have been querying, of course, the program for which 100 billion naira has been set aside this year. Have we done any kind of checks to find out whether or not this is actually keeping children in school, whether or not it is actually drawing children into schools to keep them in school? Those questions are important. So we know whether or not it's money well spent or just something down the drain, particularly in the light of news that one of the fellows in charge of this administration may have been suspended by the president. But the details you'll find on page 2 of the Nigerian NewsDirect this morning. Electricity supply urged to reconstitute TCN board in Q1 2024. The details you'll find there. And at the bottom of the page, right beside the picture, FG to revoke more licenses of illegal miners in 2024. That's according to the Minister of Solid Minerals. Find the details of that on page 12. And it's also important to find out because, especially in the light of what the Minister also said, that Solid Minerals Ministry is going to contribute significantly, he said, to Nigeria's GDP in this year. How is that going to work? Also, bearing in mind what the same minister said, that there are some powerful people who are not making things work in that sector of our economy. Well, maybe that is also included on page 12, and the details right there. That's the Nigerian NewsDirect this morning.
Okay, take a look at Vanguard. Plateau attacks. Groups slam COAS on why Nigerians can't bear arms. Will that be a conversation to have moving forward? But look at the riders first and foremost. MBF, Afenifere, JNI, Pandef kick. Nigerians should be allowed arms to defend themselves. MBF says embargo amounts to conspiracy against the people. Insists it's time Nigerians are given access to higher grades of arms. Nigerians have right to defend themselves. Afenifere, people can defend themselves where government fails to defend themselves, as Pandef, or fail to defend them. If the army can't defend people, should they allow themselves killed? GNI. Allowing Nigerians to bear firearms, recipe for disaster? Can. So, of course, there are several questions about all of these things here now, about this. Different categories of arguments. First, I'm not sure it's just a blanket bearing of arms, because there's already a typology, a type of arms that is allowed if you get your license, say for hunting, according to the laws. So, they're asking now, should something change? Should they be allowed to bear higher grade of arms? And what higher type? Of course, I'm not sure they'll allow for automatic. Semi-automatic, maybe. At the moment, Dangon, double barrel, probably. But some bear AK-47. There have been several calls previously to arrest those people. Have you seen anybody arrested? Your guess is as good as mine. So, should they dismiss this conversation just with a wave of hand? Should they bring it on board and tell the people why this can happen? In the meantime, people are getting killed. Some are using sophisticated weapons to kill people in those areas. And so if that is allowed to keep happening, how long will they keep going on for that? And if you don't allow them bear arms, will this lead to gun running? Because people will have to find a way to defend themselves.
Indeed.
So what should then happen? Because we can't keep playing the ostrich. Because I keep saying it time and again here, guys. Different states have one form of security outfit or the other, which clearly says we've got a challenge with policing, basic policing of the country, but we still don't want to face the music. We would like playing the ostrich and beat about the bush and tell you, oh no, but look, and we keep going on like this. And for how long? because they always tell us about the stats about small and light arms that is already coming through from the Libya Trough up down here. People have these things, guys. People have it. Look at what's being seized time and again. And what happens to the ones that are seized anyway? Who tells us anything? But look, I could go on.
So what then happens to innocent people, who want to get in
defenseless?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the meantime, I see Plateau, God free Nigeria from these horrors, Pope Francis. Yes, good prayer, but God won't come down from heaven to do that. You have to do something. You have to act. We have to do something. So it's really out there. Maybe, look, pay basic attention to defending yourselves. Groups, if you know you gather in large number, pay some attention to securing yourselves. I understand estates do a little bit of something like that.
You do?
So you need to step in a lot further. Just pay some attention. So guys, I think we'll end there at the papers. We'll look at that probably moving forward much later. And by the way, go ahead and tell us, would you, I know you like to bear arms, maybe, but what should be done about those calls for people or the country or people should be allowed to bear arms? How should we approach it? You tell us. We'd like to hear from you. It's an interesting one, I tell you. I know. I already see you thinking about, are you sure? Look at the example of countries that have these things. Look at what's going on there. Okay. And those things happening for us to learn and correct something if we have to do something. You tell us. Talk to us. But in the meantime, we will be back. We'll talk about leadership. A lot rises and falls on that. You know what they say. But don't go away. We will be back.